Tyler, you can come in a little more because people are trying to come in.
My bad.
No worries. I appreciate it. Listen, there ain't enough. There's not going to be enough rooms, period, to fill all the agents that want a piece of what's going on.
Facts.
How's that? Was that good? I'm not like an IG model, right? Is that how you say it? I'm not young enough to be an IG model, but I'm gonna try to say like quick 5 to 15 second like douchey things. So like, wow, he's really cool. I'm gonna join that shop because if I just say the truth, it never really got me anywhere because I didn't have this, I didn't have this cult. I didn't know how to do the cult following because I wasn't very good at pandering to people. I didn't have it in me to do that. All I could say was we have a system, 5 to 15,000 a week, 25 to 40 appointments. And because so many people claim they have a system because it sounds like a nice word, because I do have a system, I get lost with those people. Because we really are changing the industry because everyone wants to say they're changing the industry. Well, now I get lost in that too. But now we're getting to a point where one by one, we're getting 5 to 15,000 a week agents, and their friends are talking, and now it's almost effortless. And so this was, one of the things that I learned, I was pissed off. I was like, man, they fucking suck. They can't train. I'm so much better than them. How come they're killing me in the numbers? I was bitter, And what I didn't realize is, instead of trying to take over the country, if I really just focused on developing core people. That's what these shops had. That was the unspoken story that I never knew about when I was building. It wasn't, some of them poach shops, which we'll talk about some other time when we're having a beer or something like that. And we were having a beer. I rarely drink, so that must mean something. But for you to really build this $100 million a year shop, you're thinking, these agents and all this stuff, but it really starts from one person building a duplicatable system with maybe 4 to 8 people. And I know it's slow in the beginning. I know that part sucks compared to just recruiting thousands of people. But think of the long run. I build something with stability. You build something that will probably lead to chargebacks. When I work with my agents, that time is put in and they will be with me for the rest of my career. Whereas these agents come in and as soon as the jig is up, they're out the door. So you spend so much time recruiting and training agents that aren't even going to be with you. So in the beginning, it sucked, but now it's really starting to pay off. And me going through that process, I can help you guys build your same agencies and not be bitter about it because I can tell you what the future's going to lie. Because I've done it so many different times in so many different ways. Was that good? All right. I need like an ending line, and that's why A. Fox is the shit. Is that good? Alright, but we really have to do our work. So I'm going to try to do it as if that camera's not there. So let's all go in a certain... You're on the left, you're on the side in your experience. I feel you'll be comfortable enough to say who you are, a little bit about where you've been, what's going on here, maybe like a 2 to 5 minute thing.
Alright, for those that don't know, my name is Garrett Diaz. I'm an annuity specialist here, also manager as well. Been in the industry for a couple of years now, consistent, somewhat, I'll say that, frustration wise, I can do a little bit better, but always typically 20 to 30,000 a month in overall production. And kind of what's going on right now is, as far as company-wise, is that we want to be able to focus a little bit more on kind of the advanced market products. And guys, I'll say this, for those of y'all that, everybody complains about money, but not a lot of people get on annuity training stuff or conference calls, all this extra stuff, right, that everybody's here today. Guess what? All the stuff that most of the stuff that you are going to get out of today, you could have been getting it day in and day out had you been a part of 100%. All these additional conference calls, the webinars, jumping on, because it's nothing for anybody to reach out to me and say, hey, I need some training on some annuity stuff. Can we set up a time Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning? If it's 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, I promise you I'm up and I'm all about it. All right? So it's those type of things that everybody complains about money and says this and says that, but if you're not willing to ask those questions for those clients, you're not going to get those big 200, $100,000 annuities. Me and Ashley right here, we have a meeting in Jacksonville. She found the money. She called me. She said, "Hey, I got this guy. Got a couple $100,000 in a 401k. What can we do?" I said, "Schedule a conference call." And I said, "No, I'm going to get the appointment booked." All right. We jumped on a conference call for what, 8 minutes, 7, 8 minutes, something like that. And he's all open to it. Got an appointment this Friday afternoon for $300,000. That's a lot, and I ain't gonna go into comp. That's a lot of money. It's more than most people make in a whole entire year. I promise you that. All right. So these type of things, guys. There's money out there. People don't trust these a lot of these big financial institutions. So when you get into the people that are in your own community, that are in your backyard, if you can have those personal traits and the communication to be able to convey a message, whether it be just trust or get them to open up to you, people are going to start seeing these things, because it's tough when you create a plan. The same thing whenever I went over and I helped Chris, we closed a $400,000 annuity. How many times? Because what did I ever put him in a position to where he could ever say no? Right, because the plan was already in place. I knew what he wanted before we even got to the appointment. Same thing with Ashley. Whenever we had that conference call, I found out every single thing he wanted in order to already have a plan in place to when we go out there, it's kind of smooth sailing for me. And you know, you can kind of look at it as manipulating clients. Sometimes you're just helping them get out of their own way. You know? And so it's asking these follow-up questions to make sure that, and I'm going to do an illustration, I'm going to do a case study later. And it's about sometimes it's about micro asset management. Sometimes it's not about the big pictures. There's some people you're never going to sell life insurance to. They want you there just so you can say that you came and you never have to come back. But you know, I'm getting too ahead of myself.
But it's tough. It's tough. We have a lot to go over.
Yeah.
We got a lot to say in such a short period of time.
I'm passing on. Thank you guys.
I think, and you know, I made the mistake on now someone has to follow that. So I apologize. I'd like to summarize that up and saying, in most situations, you're talking about almost $1 million in annuities that were written between two agents that don't know anything about annuities, and they're going to get the right plan for their client because of the communication and organization that we had. Garrick, I need help, and he helped you out. It's not about being the best salesperson or knowing the most. It's just about doing the right thing. And you're going to see doing the right thing just made you guys several thousands of dollars, which is pretty cool and effortless. And then the beauty of it is after making all that money, you get to learn how to do it. So that you see it a couple of times, and eventually, you know, you'll just run it by Garrick. Hey, Garrick, I'm going to do this. That sound good? Yeah, that sounds good. Cool. In the beginning, he's helping you, and you're doing a lot of the legwork, but he's, you know, doing most of the pulling the strings in the background. But eventually, you won't have to have your strings pulled. And that's the beauty of our training, is that you don't have to be able to you don't have to be a life insurance, you don't have to have your master's in insurance and finance or be well known on advanced principles and what you could do with a whole life policy to be able to do that for a client. All you have to do is be able to spot that client who needs help, get a Foxy on the phone, and we're going to help you out. Most of this industry is so disconnected where if agents run into that problem, they don't even have someone to go to. You know, so I appreciate Garrick, ever since he's been here, helping out to be that person, because we don't have enough of those people. You know, again, because we're just started 2 years ago, we're just in our infant stages. You know, to do over, 10 million as an agency in 2 years, it was just our 2-year anniversary not too long ago. I mean, says that we're doing something very special. You know, obviously I'm not impressed with those numbers. I'm just like you guys. I'm always pissed about my numbers. What do you think? You're going to do millions a year and then all of a sudden you're going to be happy? No, you're never going to be happy. You actually get more pissed off. And more arrogant about it. More like, just, I'm $100 million shop. Look at that guy. I mean, I could do what that guy's doing. And you start saying, why aren't I guy? And you get pissed off. And there's two types of people. When you get pissed off, you get down, that's not good. When you get pissed off, you get fired up to get it done, well, that's great. That's what tells me is I am that second person. If you aren't that second person, then don't get pissed off. Be happy about shit. Because getting pissed off is going to mess your game up. Like everyone's got their own little personalities that they strive on. And a good manager will know which chords to hit when. And some people, if you put deadlines, man, they fucking buckle. I had a guy who, a wonderful guy. He was in Vermont. He was a farmer, and I got him to come in and sell life insurance. And he was a great agent. And then he started letting all these things get him down, just putting all pressure on himself. And he was going out consistently, not making a sale. I'm like, how the fuck you don't make a sale? Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? You were working, right? Yeah, I'm working. He was working. So I'm sitting here like, wow. Like, you were working 40, 50 hours a week. You're not making a sale. How does that happen? And he was putting so much pressure on himself that it completely just knocked his head out of the game. It has nothing to do with skill. And my proof to you is this. We got on the call. I said, Dave, it's not Dave Brecka, so don't you. This is not Farmer, Vermont, so you can't. It's not him. So don't do that to him. I got other bad stories about him. Don't worry. Oh no. Anyways, so I go to. I almost said his last name. I go to Dave, and I said, Dave, I got this thing that I want to show you, but I need you to do me something. I need you to just go out and write one application this week for me. Can you do that? He said, well, just one? Yeah, just one. Just focus on writing one application. Stop with this 5 to 10 sales a week stuff. Just focus on one application. Can you do that for me? Like, yeah, I could do that. I was like, cool. He goes through his week, and Dave Barker can tell you this story. This happened just like this. He goes through his week, he makes one sale. He says, Adam, I got this one sale. Now tell me, how do I get out of this slump? I go, bro, I'm going to tell you, bro.